Hola, soy Darren, Fútbol para Niños. Alright, that's enough of that stuff. For anyone listening in England, Scotland, Wales or Ireland, if you look out the window, I think you'll agree the weather's pretty grim at the moment. So, for this week's super listener only episode, we're going to close our eyes and head to sunny Spain. We're off to discover the brand new Spotify Nou Camp and learn how cutting-edge AI technology will make major improvements, and how you will one day stand on a gigantic sky-high walkway looking out across the city of Barcelona, and at exactly the same time be able to look down directly into the Nou Camp. The new Nou Camp is out now exclusively for super listeners on Patreon and on Apple Podcast subscription. Welcome to the Football for Kids podcast with me, Darren Rees, and welcome to another brand new episode. This time, we're going to be doing an episode on the FC Barcelona and Spain player, Dani Olmo. Dani has had some journey to the top. He's made some difficult and some uneasy decisions, but really importantly, he's believed in himself and he's worked his socks off to get himself to the top of the game. So, in this episode, we're going to explore his journey from the very start to the present day. And just before we get going with this episode, a real quick heads up to say that if you enjoy Football for Kids, why not check out Soccer for Kids and Darts for Kids? Those shows are also written, recorded and produced entirely by me. Just search Soccer for Kids or Darts for Kids wherever you get your podcasts, and it's pretty likely it'll pop up there. Right, let's get on with it, shall we? Let's talk about the Barcelona and Spain player, Dani Olmo. Dani Olmo was born on the 7th of May in 1998 in a town near Barcelona called Terrassa. From the very beginning, football was a part of his everyday life, not just because he loved it, but because it was all around him. Dani's dad, Mikel, had been a footballer too. Later, he became a coach. So at home, football was not just a game, it was a lesson, a proper lesson, a conversation and a way of thinking. Dani also had an older brother, Carlos, who played football as well. And like many young brothers, Dani wanted to keep up with him. He wanted to compete with him, to learn from him and to prove himself against him as well. There are stories of the Olmo brothers practicing on their family's terrace, with small goals, fast shots, Dani still tiny, diving and scrambling, laughing and learning. Sometimes he was put in goal just to get used to the ball flying at him. Because I guess it doesn't really matter where you play on the pitch, that ball can come at you at full speed no matter where you are. And Dani loved the ball so much that it barely left his sight. He carried it everywhere, he even slept with it at times. For him, football was comfort. That is important to remember in this story. Because even though Dani Olmo would later make very brave, unusual choices in his career, they all started here, at home, with his family, with a ball that felt like a friend of his. And that is really the start of this journey. Behind every young footballer, there is usually a team you do not see. For Dani Olmo, that team was his family. His dad, Mikel, helped Dani understand football, how to move, how to think, how to improve the small details. He brought the knowledge from his own playing and coaching career and he shared it calmly day by day with Dani. And because of that, Dani just got better and better. But Dani's mum, Darita, played an equally important role. While football training helped Dani grow as a player, his mum helped him grow as a person. She was the one who kept things steady when life moved fast, when expectations grew, when pressure followed success. Because as you get better, all of those things come at you fast. This support mattered, but even more when Dani moved clubs as a child. First from Espanyol, then into the world of La Masia, aka the Barcelona Academy, where the badge is heavy and the standards are through the roof. It was when Dani Olmo was around 9 years old that he joined La Masia, the famous Barcelona Academy. It was about 2007 and Barcelona were becoming the best team in the world at that time. I mean, they have been the best team in the world and then maybe they drop down to second or third and they go all the way up to the top again, because that is just FC Barcelona. Everything at the club was about the same idea. Keep the ball. Think before you run. Play with intelligence and precision. Don't kick it for no reason. Don't just chuck the ball away. You might be good with the ball at your feet, but we care about how good your brain is as well. Dani fitted right in. There's a story from this time that says a lot about Dani Olmo. One day, while watching his dad at a match, Dani was told he could have his photo taken with no other than Lionel Messi. Even then, Messi was a bit of a superstar. But Dani didn't really want to stop training. He didn't want to stop practicing. He had the ball at his feet and he was having the time of his life. He stood for the photo, got a little impatient, and then hurried straight back to the ball. That picture is still kept at home, not because of who is next to him, but because it shows what mattered most to Dani, the game itself. At La Masia, Dani grew quickly. He played with talented teammates, and when we say talented, we're talking about the best young players on the planet. And Dani, even amongst those players, became the captain of his age group. But it was not easy. The competition was fierce and nothing was ever guaranteed. At the end of his first year, Dani had to sit down with his coaches and explain why he deserved to stay. Imagine that. You're about 10 years old, already learning that football can be serious and tough and you've got to fight your own corner. That moment stayed with him, because La Masia taught Dani Olmo more than how to pass and move. It taught him about responsibility. It taught him about focus and how to keep loving the game, even when the pressure starts and you're young. Life at La Masia had taught Dani Olmo so much. He knew how to play, he knew how to lead, he knew how to captain his team. Wearing that armband and setting standards for others became natural to him. He also played for Spain's youth team, which meant many people believed his future was already written. But in July 2014, a few years later, Dani was just 16 years old and something surprising happened. Dani and his dad made a decision that almost nobody expected. They chose to leave Barcelona. Instead of staying on a path that felt safe and familiar, even though it was very tough, Dani moved to Dinamo Zagreb in Croatia. It was a different country, a different language, a different style of football, different everything. To many people, this felt risky, super risky. Why leave one of the biggest clubs in the world? Why walk away from the potential of being a Barcelona first team player? But Dani was not chasing comfort. He wanted minutes, responsibility, a chance to grow faster by chasing new challenges every single day. This was not about running away, not a chance. It was about running towards something harder, something more challenging, something which would get him where he needed to get to faster. For kids listening, this is a powerful lesson. Sometimes the bravest choices are not the most obvious ones. Sometimes growth means stepping into the unknown and trusting yourself. Dani Olmo did exactly that. He followed his gut, and that is an important thing to do. Trust your gut and do what it thinks is right. At Dinamo Zagreb, it was different. They showed Dani a clear project, a step-by-step plan. Play men's football young, learn fast and grow strong. Dinamo had been doing this for years. They produced players like Luka Modric, for goodness sake. Dani could see a real route forward, not just a famous badge. But not everyone agreed. Lots disagreed and thought he was making a mistake. Back in Spain, some coaches and journalists criticised the move. They worried that he was leaving something big for something unknown. Barcelona officials were surprised too. They were left scratching their heads and sending messages asking if he was sure he's done the right thing. But Dani made his move. He moved to a new country even though he knew it would be hard, and he was just 16 years old and be playing up against grown men. But this was what it was all about. It was about testing him. It was about challenging him. It was about moving him along. It was about him doing it his way. Just 3 months after arriving in Croatia, he was already training with Dinamo Zagreb's first team. Not the academy, the senior squad. The place where the tackles are strong and mistakes matter more than any youth academy in the world. On the 7th of February 2015, when Dani was just 16 years old and 9 months, he made his professional debut in a real stadium with a real crowd with real genuine pressure. When in Croatia, Dani fully committed. He learned the Croatian language, speaking it so well that fans felt that he was one of their own. That effort mattered, because when people see you try, they give you trust, and trust is hard to come by. Over the next few years, Dani grew quickly, stronger, smarter and braver with every training session and every game. Between 2015 and 2020, he became the heart of a team. Dynamo won 5 league titles and 3 cups, and Dani Olmo was right in the middle of it all. He was playing against bigger, stronger opponents, and that helped him mature fast. He learned how to protect the ball, how to take knocks, how to keep going, and by the 2018-19 season, everyone knew his name. Dani was voted the best young player and the best player in the entire league. And then came Europe. Dani scored goals in the Champions League, even against giants like Manchester City. He was performing out of his skin. This was no longer a risky move, and those who were scratching their heads back in Barcelona could see that he was a special talent and he was a man who would make his own decisions. It was a masterclass in patience, courage and doing things the hard way, but the right way. By this point, Dani Olmo was doing brilliantly in Croatia. He spoke the language, tick. He won trophies, tick. And fans absolutely loved him, massive tick. He was one of the best players in the league. So much so that something unexpected happened. The Croatian national team asked a big question. They asked Dani if he would play for them one day. He could qualify and play for Croatia through his citizenship. Croatia had done unbelievably well in a recent World Cup, and the idea was tempting. Big tournaments, big nights, a country that already felt like home. Coaches spoke about it and the fans wondered. But Dani already knew his answer. Even though he'd grown up in Croatia as a footballer and a young person, his heart was attached to Spain. The dreams he had as a little boy were about wearing Spain's shirt, about representing Spain as a country in major tournaments. So he waited. And in October 2018, that patience paid off. Dani made his debut for Spain's under-21s team. Just like that, the question stopped. That decision mattered. It showed something important. Success does not mean forgetting where you came from. You can learn where you grow and stay true to who you are. Meanwhile, the trophies kept coming in club football. League titles, cup wins, Player of the Year awards and so much more. But this chapter was so much more than about medals and awards and all the other bits and pieces like that. It was about choosing your own path. After years of growing stronger in Croatia, Dani Olmo was ready for his next challenge. In January 2020, he packed his bags again. This time he would move to Germany to join RB Leipzig. It was another brave step. German football was faster, stronger, louder, and teams pressed hard and attacked quickly. Dani knew he would have to change his game again, but he also knew that this would make him a better footballer. He made his Leipzig debut on the 1st of February 2020, and just 3 days later, he scored his first goal. That told everyone something important. He belonged in the German Bundesliga, because it didn't matter where he played in the world, this was a guy who could adapt. Dani could play in different positions too, sometimes in midfield, sometimes out wide. Wherever the team needed him, that flexibility made him really valuable. Then came one of the biggest nights in his career. It was August 2020. Leipzig faced Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. Dani scored the opening goal. Leipzig reached their first ever semi-final. It was a historic moment, and Dani was right at the heart of it all. In August 2023, they played Bayern Munich in the Super Cup. Dani scored 3 goals. It was a beautiful hat-trick, and it was at Bayern Stadium. By now, Dani Olmo had shown he could adapt everywhere. New countries, new languages, new styles, new food, anything new, he was up for it. But football had another challenge up its sleeve: injuries. Because there was a couple of periods in 2021 and 2024 where Dani's body began to test him. His muscles tightened, his knees needed rest, a shoulder problem stopped him for a while, and just when he felt sharp and ready, football pressed pause. It was frustrating, especially with these injuries, because they often came when Dani was playing really well. He missed matches, he watched from the stands, he trained alone while his teammates played. For any footballer, that can be tough on the mind as well as it is on the body. That doesn't matter if you're a kid playing on a Saturday afternoon or you're an adult like Dani playing under the bright lights of the Nou Camp. But Dani learned something important. Healing is part of a journey. Instead of rushing back, he worked patiently. Strength work, careful training, listening to doctors, listening to his body. He did everything right. Some people worried about the injuries, but Dani focused on getting better. So for you kids listening, that part really matters. Sometimes you just gotta stop, even when you want to go. Rest is not weakness. Recovery is most definitely not failure. It's how you come back is what makes you the player that you are. After years of hard work, travels, injuries and patience, Dani Olmo arrived at 2024 ready for the biggest challenge of his career. International football. He'd already tasted success in Spain, a Nations League win, an Olympic silver medal, but the European Championships is different. Every match feels like a final, every touch matters, the whole world is watching. At Euro 2024, Dani did not even start the tournament as a regular starter. He was patient, like he always was. He was ready, like he always was, and he was supporting his teammates. You guessed it, like he always was. In the quarter-final against Germany, a teammate was injured and Dani's moment arrived. He stepped onto the pitch that day and played like he'd been waiting for that moment his entire life, because he had. He scored the opening goal, then he set up the winner and Spain went through. In the next match, the semi-finals against France, Dani scored again. He was calm, confident and brave. By the end of the tournament, something incredible had happened. Dani Olmo finished as joint top scorer, winning the Golden Boot. He was also named in the team of the tournament. But one moment showed his character more than any other goal. In the final, with everything on the line, Dani made a goal line clearance. A last second block to stop England scoring. Spain won the tournament and it was their 4th European title. And Dani Olmo was, again, right in the mix of it all. After travelling across Europe, Dani Olmo finally came back to where it all began. In August 2024, he signed back with FC Barcelona, the club he joined as a little boy, the place where he learned how to think and play. It felt like a fairy tale ending, but football is never that simple. Barcelona had some money stuff to deal with. Dani couldn't play for them straight away. Even though he was fit and ready, he had to sit out for the first few matches of the season, which was hard work, but this was a man with extreme patience. Dani stayed calm, he waited, he trusted the process, and then on the 27th of August 2024, just hours before kickoff, Barcelona found a solution and Dani was registered in time to play. That same night, he made his senior team debut for Barcelona, all of those years after leaving the club. But, as I said earlier on, 2024 was a bit of a tough time when it came to injuries. His muscles in 2024 needed some rest. In September and in October, there were moments where patience was required yet again. But Dani did what he always did. He stayed patient, he did the right things, he got himself fit and he was back playing again. By now, you're probably thinking Dani Olmo's story is only about goals, trophies, big stadiums and, well, some injuries. But there is another side to him. Away from the pitch, Dani believes football should help people too. He is a part of a common goal, a group started by footballer Juan Mata, where players promise to give 1% of their wages to help others. Dani chose this cause as it mattered deeply to him. During his years in Croatia, Dani learned about the history of the region and saw how football could bring children together after difficult times. That is why he supports projects like that, helping kids to learn, play and connect through sport. He still visits the area, he still speaks the language, he still keeps in touch with his old teammates. For Dani, football is not just about winning, it's about responsibility, it's about using your talent to make things better for others. And that tells you everything you need to know about the kind of person he is. So let's take a step back and look at that journey. Dani Olmo started as a little boy in Teresa, kicking a ball between tiny goals on a family terrace. He trained with Barcelona in the famous La Masia. He left when people told him not to. He moved to a new country at 16 years old. He learned a new language, suffered loads of injuries, waited for his chances, and most importantly, he never ever stopped believing and doing things the right way. He chose the harder road, that's for sure. And that road is a road which shaped him. And I think when we look at Dani Olmo's story, it teaches us that we don't need to rush. You don't have to follow what everyone else is doing. Just choose your own path if you feel like it's the right one. And that brings this episode on Dani Olmo to an end. So remember, if you know someone who loves football just as much as you do, then please tell them about the Football for Kids podcast. And whether you're playing football soon, watching it on the telly or pitch side, I hope that you enjoy the game. See you next time. Oh, and just a gentle reminder that there is a brand new episode on the new Spotify New Camp available for super listeners on Patreon and on Apple Podcast subscription right now. You can also listen to every single episode in the back catalogue completely ad-free if you join up on those places.